What's up, guys? My name is Brendan, and today I want to give you 7 tips to help you learn and master the GUMBI. The GUMBI comes from capoeira, and it is a fundamental skill in tricking. So if you want a good rise and a good TDR, you need to master the GUMBI. And trust me, if you use these tips, your GUMBI will be far better. So with that said, let's get started. Tip number 1 is to stretch your back and shoulders. If you want to do a good GUMBI, your body cannot hold you back. So you need your shoulders and back to be flexible enough to do the arch you need to do a good GUMBI. What I would recommend if your back is super tight and you still need to build that flexibility is just do a ton of bridges. Spend half an hour to an hour every day and dedicate it to stretching your shoulders and making your back be able to move better for tricking. Trust me, if you do that, your GUMBI will be far better. Tip number 2, take the first hand that touches the ground and rotate it to the outside. If you do this, you'll be able to internally rotate within your shoulder while you do the GUMBI. If your fingertips are facing forward as you try and perform the GUMBI, it's not gonna feel good and your shoulder isn't gonna be able to move properly. So make sure when you put that first hand down, rotate it out so that way you can rotate your shoulder in. Tip number 3, if you want to do a really aesthetically pleasing GUMBI, you need a really prominent arch in your back. The middle of your GUMBI should pretty much look like a bridge just because you're bending as much as you are. And that really matters, especially if you want to use your GUMBI as a setup. You need to go from that arch body to a hollow body to generate flipping momentum. So if you can get a solid arch in the middle of your GUMBI, that will help a ton. Tip number 4 is to go slightly off axis. When you see the GUMBI done in capoeira, often their body is almost flat to the ground and they are super arched over. And then when you see some trickers do the GUMBI as a setup, it is completely vertical and they don't really get a good arch in their back. What I would recommend is to go slightly off axis. So don't go totally flat to the ground in a bridge, don't go completely vertical like a cartwheel, turn it slightly off axis and make your body look like a GUMBI. Tip number 5, use your arms. Your arms are there for a reason. They shouldn't just be supporting your weight. They should be pushing off the ground to launch you into whatever the next trick is. If you want to use your GUMBI as a strong and effective setup, you not only need to use your legs to give you flipping momentum, but you need to use your arms to help you push off the ground and launch you into whatever the next skill is, or help you translate effectively out of the GUMBI. Tip number 6, the power is gonna come from your legs, specifically your front swing. When you start your GUMBI, your leg is gonna start in front of your body and then swing behind you. That swing is what's gonna generate a lot of your flipping momentum. And if you want your GUMBI to be more powerful, put more power into that initial front swing. If you do that, you will have way more energy, momentum, and strength to translate it into whatever the next trick is. Tip number 7, your eyes should follow your hands. As you do the Gumby, you're gonna wanna know where to look and where to spot. What I would recommend is to keep your eyes locked on your first hand. So as you swing those arms forward, keep your eyes locked on that hand as you turn it in and put it on the ground. You can then look at the ground as you're upside down and performing the Gumby, but once you end your Gumby, push off the ground with your arms, bring them forward as you look forward, setting into whatever the next trick is. If you do the Gumby and your eyes get stuck on the ground or just in any one position, it's gonna be very hard to perform. So make sure you're shifting your spotting and using your hands to give you a guide as you move. Thank you guys so much for watching. The Gumby is a fundamental skill in tricking, but it's probably the hardest fundamental to learn, just because it requires so much back and shoulder flexibility that often athletes haven't developed yet, especially if they just started tricking. Guys, do me a favor, which of these tips was your favorite? And if there's something I didn't mention, write it in the comments down below. But thank you again for watching, and please have a lovely day.